Okay. So what is a non-registered account? So non-registered account is an account that is not created as a investment trust. So it is not an RRSP or a TFSA or a RESP. Okay. It is not a RRSP, it's not a TFSA, and it is not an RESP. Non-registered accounts are also called as investment accounts, and they don't enjoy any tax deferral or tax free growth. They do not enjoy any tax deferral or any tax free growth. So non registered accounts are investment accounts that you create, that you have with your broker. Whatever you put in that account, it will not enjoy any tax deferral like RRSP. So in RRSP, whatever you put in, you get a tax deduction, and you do not pay taxes for years of growth, and when you sell it and withdraw it, it is treated as income and you pay tax. So it does not work that way. And same way, it is not the tax free account also like a TFSA. So whatever growth happens, right, it will be taxed. Now from a non registered account, you can make three types of income or three types of gain. You can have interest, you can have dividends, or you can have capital gains. Okay. So you can, if you have invested some bonds or bond funds into a non-registered account, you may be getting some interest. If you have put some dividend paying stocks, so they are paying you dividends, you would be getting dividends from them. And if you have put some stocks and you sell those stocks after gains or losses, then you get capital gains or capital losses, right? So we'll discuss how does the tax treatment for each of them work. So what we are going to assume is, let's say you have a non-registered account, and in that non-registered account you get $1,000 as interest, $1,000 as dividend, and $1,000 of capital gains. So how will the tax treatment for these $1,000 of interest, $1,000 of dividends, and $1,000 of capital gain will work? We'll be discussing about that. Okay. Every year, whichever broker you open your investment account with will give you a statement that will show the total interest, total dividend, and total capital gains that you have incurred, and then you have to pay taxes on that. Okay. So how is interest tax? So assuming Caitlin, we were discussing example of Caitlin, she has a marginal tax rate of 32%. That's what her marginal tax rate was. No, 30%. It was 30%. Marginal tax rate is 30% for Caitlin. So we'll discuss how interest is taxed, how dividend is taxed, and how capital gains is taxed. So marginal tax rate 30%. How is interest tax? So this entire interest amount is multiplied by her marginal tax rate 30%, and that will be the tax payable. Okay, no credit, no deductions, nothing, right? Straight away, whatever interest you get, you multiply it by your tax rate, and that's the tax payable. So after tax amount will be $700. After tax amount will be $700. Now for dividends, it is little bit different. So for dividends, you have to do certain steps. So step 1, gross this dividend paid to you by 1.38. Okay, gross it up by 1.38. So step 1, gross up dividends. Okay. Step 2, calculate tax on grossed up dividend. Calculate tax on grossed up dividend. So this is the grossed up dividend. You are in 30% tax bracket. So this is the tax payable on grossed up dividend. Step 3, calculate dividend tax credit. Calculate dividend tax credit. How to do that? So grossed up dividend multiplied by 15.02. That's the credit that you get on dividends. 15.02. So we multiplied grossed up dividend by 15.02. Step 4, tax payable will be difference of the two. 414, tax on grossed up amount minus dividend tax credit. So this is the total tax payable. Okay. And after tax amount would be $1,000 you got minus $206 you received in, you paid in taxes. So $1,000 of dividend minus $206 of taxes. So 793 is after tax amount in dividends. After tax amount in interest was $700. Okay. Last part is you can sometimes get capital gains. So how to tax capital gains? So first of all, only 50% of capital gains, long-term capital gains are taxable. They may change it, but right now only 50% of long-term capital gains are taxable. So this divide by 2, only this much is taxable. And then you calculate tax on taxable capital gains at MTR, marginal tax rate. So this $500 will be multiplied by 30%, the tax rate of Caitlin. So $150 is the tax payable. So after tax amount is $1,000 minus $150, so $850. So tax treatment in a non-registered account differs, right, according to the income you are getting. If you're getting interest income, the tax treatment will differ. If you're getting dividend income, the tax treatment will differ. If you're getting capital gains, the tax treatment will differ. Any questions? Okay. So if you're opening a non-registered account with a broker, always remember whatever gains you make, dividends, interest, or capital gains, you have to pay taxes on that. Okay. So let's do one more example. So let's say you have a non-registered account and you're getting $5,000 of interest, dividends of $5,000, and capital gains of $5,000, and your marginal tax rate MTR, marginal tax rate, is 25%. Marginal tax rate is 25%. Calculate the after tax amount for interest, dividends, and capital gains. Calculate the after tax amount for interest, dividends, and capital gains. Now, this dividend taxation depends on whether it is a Canadian controlled private company, whether it is an Canadian listed company, or whether it is an American non-listed company, Canadian non-listed company, OTC companies. So there are a lot of variables around it, but most of the times you will get dividends on like a ETF or a stock that is listed and it is publicly traded. So most of the times this is how the calculation works. Okay, so let's do it. So interest, dividends, and capital gains, that is what is given, $5,000 each. So how will the taxes work? So tax payable when you get certain interest, it's very easy to calculate. So it is $5,000 multiplied by the marginal tax rate. So in this case, it is 25%. Marginal tax rate is the tax that you pay on additional income you're getting. So it is 25%. So this. So after tax amount is $5,000 minus the tax paid 1250. So after tax amount left with you will be 3750. Okay. Then dividends. Step 1, gross it up by 1.38. So 1.38. Okay. Step 2, calculate the tax, marginal tax on this. So grossed up amount into 25% is the tax payable. Step 3, calculate the credit on it. So once again, grossed up amount. You have to always multiply grossed up amount, not the dividend, into 15.02. That's the dividend tax credit rate. Okay. Tax payable will be difference of the two. So $688 as taxes. So after tax amount would be 5 grand that you got minus 688. 5 grand you got minus 688. So after tax amount is 4311. Now, if you get $5,000 as capital gains, right, what will change? First of all, only 50% of capital gains is taxable. So 50% of this will be taxable and it will be taxable at the full rate. So tax payable will be 50% of the gains multiplied by 25%. So 625. So after tax amount will be 5 grand that you got in capital gains minus 625. So it is 4375. So please remember, as compared to interest that you get, dividends and capital gains enjoy certain tax benefits. Dividends, you have dividend tax credits that reduces your tax incidence, and capital gains, you have only 50% of capital gains are taxed. So that also reduces the tax incidence. Okay. Questions?
Could you just repeat step 3 for the dividend tax credit again?
All right. So $5,000 dividend you got. Step 1, gross it up. So multiply the dividend received into 1.38. Okay. Then step 2, grossed up dividend multiplied by 25%. Where did I get this 25% from? That is a marginal tax rate. Okay, that would be given to you. Step 3 is you on an average get a dividend tax credit of 15.02. So grossed up amount 6900 you multiply by 15.02. So you get dividend tax credit amount. Difference between the two is tax payable.
15.02 and 1.38, those are numbers we just need to remember.
Yeah, so those are quite standard. So I'll show you. So those are given by CRA. So it depends on whether it is an eligible dividend or non-eligible dividend.
No, Cold War just doesn't know how to run.
Yeah, this is the article. So this will be given to you by the government. There is something called as eligible dividend. Most of the dividends you get when you invest are eligible dividends. So what do you do is whatever dividend you get, you gross it up by 1.38. Now, why do we gross it up? Because dividends are taxed twice. So company has already paid taxes, right, on profits, and then they are paying you dividends. So to give you a credit for that, so that there is a reduction of double taxation, this system is developed, right? So what do they do? Whatever dividend you get, you gross it up by 1.38, and then you take a credit of 15%. Okay. So then you take a credit. So where is 15.02, it is exactly 15.0198, so that approximately comes to 15.02. so grossed up dividend, you calculate tax, then take a credit of 15.02. Difference between the two will be tax payable. Okay. So this amounts can change. So 38% that they are mentioning right now, that may change. So before you calculate your taxes, you just have to find out what is the grossed up amount for eligible dividend. Most of the dividends you're going to get in your investment account are eligible dividend. So these two things can change. Right now, the gross up rate is 38%. It means you have to multiply dividends into 1.38. Okay. And dividend tax credit rate is currently 15.02% approximately. That can change. Okay. Questions? All right. So let's do this example again, assuming that it is a it is a registered account. Okay. So Caitlin, 25 years old, current bracket this, that, right? ETF 7%. So we are investing now in a non-registered account. So Caitlin is 25 years old. Current tax bracket is 30%. She wants to retire at the age of 60. She has 35 years to go. Her tax when she retires is 20%, right? Okay. Plan is $5,000 each year when she starts the year. She is planning to invest in an ETF at 7% and MER is 0.3. Now there are certain things. She's investing in a non-registered account. So when she withdraws, she has to pay capital gains. Now for this example, we are assuming that her withdrawals will be taxed at 20%, but you should not withdraw in one go. So if you have a non-registered account, you're retiring and you have a big chunk of capital gains, you should not withdraw in one go because the tax incidence will be higher. So that's probably you should withdraw it in smaller chunks. But for this example, we're assuming she withdraws straight away and she's taxed at 20%. So let's do it. What is the difference between this and TFSA RRSP that we have done? So how many years to go? 35. So always we start with years. 0, 1, 2. Okay, 35. Then funds at the start. We are starting with 0. So yearly investment. $5,000. Okay. Does she get any dividend tax, like dividend deduction or anything? No. Like RRSP, there are no deductions available. Okay. So growth of the fund, it is fund value at the start plus yearly investment into the fund into the growth 1 plus 7%. Okay. On that, you will be charged MER, management expense ratio. So fund value into MER at 0.03%. So $1.60 you pay as MER. So fund value at the end of the year is 5350 minus 1.60. Okay. So fund value at the end is 5348. So then again, you start with fund value. Yearly investment, you make $5,000. The growth of the fund is fund value at the start plus yearly investment you made. Both of them grow at 1 plus 7%. that is at 7%. MER is calculated on this value. So $3 funds at the end. Okay. So I'll just drag this down. We have done this multiple times. So you should be okay with it net now. So before tax, her before tax, her amount in a non-registered account is somewhere around $790,000. Okay. Now, half of it will be taxable. So 50% is taxable. Okay. And she pays a tax at, what is her tax when she retires? 20%. So this multiplied by 20%. So this is the tax that she pays. So her after tax amount is 790 minus $79,000. So $711,000. So what is difference? Same thing like TFSA, the fund grows, right? Each year you invest. This we have done like 3 or 4 times now. So you should be familiar. So the fund grows to $790,000, right? Before tax, you get $790,000. Taxation differs. We are assuming that it is a capital gain. All the gains you are getting is capital gains. So you sell the funds, you get 719,696, right? 50% of that will be taxable. So calculate that amount. 20% is the tax rate. So 50% taxable amount into 20%, right, gives you tax payable. After tax amount is before tax amount minus tax gives after tax amount. Questions? Okay, so let's do one more. Let's do this one. So you get around $80,000 more in a tax-free savings account. So TFSAs are better than non-registered accounts. So try and do this. So I'll pause the recording for a while. Try it out. I'll give you some 10 minutes to do it, and then we can discuss. So let's do this. So you always start with the years. So years starts with 0 right now, and you're going to invest for 28 years. So Harry is 32, plans to retire at 60, so 28 years to go. So $28 years. Okay. So funds at the start starts with 0. Yearly investments. It is $6,000. Okay. Growth of the funds. It is funds at the start plus yearly investments into 1 plus 7.5% in this case. 1 plus 7.5%. ETF is giving a return of 7.5%. Okay. Then you have to pay MER, management expense ratio. So this multiplied by 0.09%, MER 0.09%. Okay. So funds at the end of the year, it is growth of the fund minus MER, management expense ratio. That is funds at the end. So you started with 0, you put in $6,000, they grow by 7%. Then you have to pay fees, annual fees, and you are left with 6448. Okay. Then you again start with 6448. You put in $6,000 of investment. The fund grows. So this plus this grows at 7.5%. Then you pay an MER of 0.09% on that. And funds are at the end. So this will keep on going on till 28 years. So after tax amount, sorry, before tax. So before you pay any taxes, if you sell everything, this should be the amount, $600,000. Now, assuming that it is a capital gain, then 50% of it will be taxed. So this into 50% will be taxed. Okay. And you pay a tax of, what is the tax rate? What is the MTR in this case? 25%. So you pay a tax of 25%. So taxable amount into 25%, $75,000 in taxes. So after tax amount will be 600,000 minus 7549. Okay. Any questions? So as an investor, so you will be earning, you would be investing, right? If you're not doing it right now, you will be doing it soon. So what should be your strategy? So strategy 1, that is what I think. This is not investment advice. Strategy 1, consume your entire RRSP room. Consume RRSP room first. Okay. While reinvesting the tax back. This is key. So first of all, you don't get the entire RRSP room. Some of it would be consumed if you have some pension plans. But if you figure out how much RRSP room you have, consume it first. So start your investments first there, right? Maybe a ETF, maybe like a balance fund, anything you want, right? Whatever tax backs you get from that RRSP, always reinvest, because we saw that's a massive gain. If you reinvest the tax backs are not reinvested, right? You end up with 685. So tax amount plus tax backs. But if you reinvest the tax backs, you end up with 800,000. So it is a very good strategy to reinvest the tax backs. Okay. So strategy 1, start with your RRSP and reinvest the tax backs. Then go on to TFSA. So if you have already consumed your RRSP limit, then start investing in a TFSA. Okay, long-term investments. TFSA is also good for trading because or some other goals. RRSP, you have to wait till retirement to use those funds. So that's a big problem with RRSP. So TFSA you can use for other goals, like maybe buying a house or maybe going for a big vacation or anything else. So TFSA doesn't have any withdrawal thing. But for your retirement, first consume your RRSP, then go to TFSA, and then go to non-registered accounts. With a caveat that TFSAs are good for other goals. So buying a house, you can invest in like down payment of that, you can invest in a TFSA. Then maybe buying a car, you can make investments there. Anything else. Okay. So the best strategy for retirement is RRSP plus reinvesting tax packs, followed by TFSA, followed by non-registered accounts. Any questions? So some homework for you. So homework is make an investment plan for your own self in which you have to figure out an age. So we are making an investment plan for retirement. So factor in your current age. Okay. Then your retirement age. Then your tax rate right now. So figure out what is the tax rate right now. Figure out what is tax rate when you retire. If you are not paying any taxes right now, so assume 30% and 25%. But if you're paying taxes and you can estimate that, then you can do it. So current age will depend on you. Retirement age, assume it is 60 or 65, whatever you want. Tax rate, if you have a tax rate that you pay, assume that, otherwise take 30%, right? Tax rate when you retire, 25%. Investment returns, take it as 7.25%. Okay. And MER, management expense ratio, 0.05%. Then calculate what will be after tax amounts in an RRSP, assuming reinvestments of tax back, then TFSA and non-registered account. So this is some homework for you. Create your own retirement plan and figure out how much you get, right? Assume your current age, like then assume a retirement age of 60 or 65. Tax rate, your own tax rate. If you don't have it, then 30%. Tax rate when you retire, 25%. Investment returns, assume it 7.25%. MER 0.05%. After tax amount, find out in RRSP, TFSA, non-registered account. You can, like, whatever is your savings. So I'll calculate the monthly savings that you can make and figure out how much you will get. So you have to also assume annual investments. So that is up to you. So assume annual investment. Let's say I'm making $5,000 every year. So almost $400 every month. Then assume that will be your current age, retirement age, tax rates, everything. Figure out how much you get in an RRSP, how much you get in a TFSA, and how much you get in a non-registered account. Any questions? So we have to start with one last account, one last registered account called as RESP, but we'll do it in the next week, right? Because you have an assignment that you can work on. So before I let you go, I'll stop the recording first.